and it is just like me, and it is just like you.
Hello, welcome to episode 51 of Chet and Jon's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name's John Denton, with me as always, Chet Roivas.
Right.
So, 50 episodes in the can, you know what the deal is. 2 top 10 lists, going from 10 to 1. 10 being the game we played the least, 1 being the game we played the most. Let's not fuck about. Chet, number 10.
Right, my number 10 is an Xbox Live Indie game that doesn't have a title. It's a completely unlocalized Japanese game. I saw it on the store. I don't know how I came across it. You go into the game and there's 3 options on the screen, all Japanese text. The top one takes you into the game. The second one appears to be an explanation of how the game works, and the bottom one takes you back to the dashboard. Because I'm such an idiot, I went back to the dashboard about 3 times investigating what it was. By the time I finally got started, I mean, it's beyond impenetrable. There's these 2 children, that one of them looks like a Harry Potter, one of them looks like a Zelda, and they're having fights with goblins, and all these random numbers come up and you stop them like a dice, and it makes less than no sense. I think it's one of those card battler games.
Okay.
Makes no sense at all. It
doesn't have a name.
No, it doesn't have a name. So even if that sounds interesting, you can't fucking search for it because you can't input Japanese characters into the search. I don't know why it's on there, but yeah, I just thought I'd have a look.
Good find.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The unknown. I'll tell you what. I'll put footage of it on the YouTube just so in case anyone's interested, because it is a complete mystery.
All right, cool. My number 10 is Wreck-It Ralph, the game on iOS. I watched the movie. It's a good fun movie. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it's very enjoyable. Especially the first 20 minutes, shitloads of old school game references, just it's like relentless gags. And there's the main character is Ralph, and he's the bad guy in a game, like an old school retro game that doesn't exist. And I thought surely they've made this game for people to play, and they have. So you can download it along with a couple of other things that are based on games in the film that I haven't played yet. But the game's called Fix It Felix. It's basically kind of like Donkey Kong, skyscraper with windows. Wreck-It Ralph is at the top. He smashes the windows, and you have to jump up as this little man. He's basically Mario but blue, and use your little hammer to fix the windows and dodge the stuff that's being thrown from the top of the screen. It's a nice little game, but on iOS the controls aren't good enough. I mean, the film is people playing, arcade joysticks with digital controls, and you do need that to play the game properly. But it's a nice game. It definitely feels just like it's born of that era. So they've done a good job. Very faithful to that style of game. It's good fun, but it's not quite accurate enough on the phone.
Yeah. Is this getting one of those standard 40 quids, Xbox, PS3? No?
It's just this, I think. Just this app.
Okay. Is it free?
69p, but you get 3 games on it, or maybe even 4 games. But yeah, it's not. I'm glad I bought it.
Okay, all right, not bad. Okay, my number 9 is iOS also. It's Movie Quiz, a free app. I spoke a couple of weeks ago about Guess the Movie, which is a really, really nice looking, really, really, very, very well made movie quiz game. This is just, here's the poster and type in what it is.
Okay.
It's really, it's fine. I'm perfectly happy to deal with the problems with it because I just enjoy doing movie quizzes like this. You can't enlarge the posters, and sometimes they're too small and there's a lot of text on them, and you're like, what? You can't actually see what's on there. You can't make a single spelling error. In Guess the Movie, if you made a couple of spelling errors, it would just write them for you. It could tell that you what you mean. Whereas this is completely militant about, God help you if you don't know how to spell Erin Brockovich, because it just fucking because type it in first time, gold. If you make one mistake, silver. One mistake, bronze. And so if you're a stickler for getting all golds, that'll piss you off. And Romeo and Juliet, the Baz Luhrmann, Claire Danes, DiCaprio film, is actually called Romeo plus Juliet, and I got skanked for knowing that when the app didn't. Piss off. But it's fine. It just a massive step down from Guess the Movie, which is 100 times better and also free.
My wife was playing this one, which is it's a movie quiz, but the things that you're guessing are more like almost impressionist posters. Impressionist is the wrong word, but
but that sounds like that's Guess the Movie, I think.
Yeah, but they're not actually the movie posters.
No, they're not. No, I probably did a terrible job of describing it, but yeah, they're kind of like
images based on iconic stuff.
Yes.
And there must be the same game. And yeah, I've played quite a bit of that as well with her.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's fun. Is that's the Guess the Movie one? Is
Guess the Movie, yeah. Movie quiz. If you only want one, Guess the Movie. Movie quiz is there if you can't get enough. But
Guess the Movie's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Genuine.
Cool. My number 9, weirdly, is Motorstorm Apocalypse. My little boy is really interested in watching car games, and my other half needed him to have a hair for 20 minutes. So I was like, I'll stick on Motorstorm because I saw it on my desk. I don't know how it was there. I thought I'll stick it in the PS3, and that will distract him for 20 minutes. I stuck it in the PS3, and it needed to do 6 updates over a gig, which took way longer than 20 minutes, and he ended up crying. It was just a terrible time. But I thought, I've updated it, so I might as well play it. I haven't played it since I reviewed it just before it came out, and if you remember, it was due to come out, and then that terrible stuff happened in Japan.
That's right.
Fukushima, and so the game basically died because they couldn't possibly release it that week. And I put it on, and it's still pretty good. We talk about it a lot. It's got that Sony first-party level of quality to it. So it's a nice-looking game still, and all of the apocalyptic sort of natural disaster effects are done really well. It's not as good a racing game as the first Motorstorm, and I think they kind of lost their way a little bit with that series. Hence, they appear to have ditched it, haven't they, for PS4? They're talking about this Drive Club thing now.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I'll never play it again. It was just a weird circumstance. But it's on PlayStation Plus, so if you have that, it is worth bashing through. Just because some of the chaotic apocalyptic things that happen on some of the tracks are worth seeing. Yeah. Definitely.
No, I did enjoy that. I mean, it's clearly there's elements of Split Second and of Burnout and stuff, and it wasn't Motorstorm at all. But I quite like that actually. It's still on my shelf. I intended to go back to it one day, but I probably won't. I don't suppose you tried multiplayer.
I did back then.
Oh, but not now.
It was fine, but I didn't play it for long enough to multiplayer. I'd probably have to do another 10 updates.
Yeah, I was just curious because I quite like the multiplayer on that. Okay, my number 8 is an Xbox Live indie game called Fast Laser Laser. This is a funny one. It looks great. The presentation is really clean and crisp. I found out afterwards, or in the menus, it's made by students at the University of Mississippi, and it's 80 Microsoft points. It's really cheap, but it looks really nice. It looks like Bomberman. You start off with 4 players in each corner of the screen, and you move along, but you're not dropping bombs, you're firing bullets, and the bullets seem to sort of deflect, bounce at random off walls, so you never quite know when one's going to hit you. You have a sword to deflect it back at people, your opponents. The only problem is the AI is so brutal. I couldn't quite believe it. You can't do anything if you're one person playing it. You just die. You can't do anything. It's basically broken. And I turned it off and I thought, well, that was crap. But then I thought, I bet you that's really, really good on local 4-player co-op when you're not just like an AI controlled player with a sixth sense and just shoots you like from behind sometimes. Or fires bullets that deflect right at you. But I was just like, wow, I bet you that's really good on 4-player. I doubt I'll ever be in a scenario where I'll be able to do that, but it's still on my hard drive, so maybe it's if you are partial to 4-player local Xbox games, definitely worth a look. Fast Laser on your own, don't even think about it.
But that does sound alright. I mean, I remember when I used to live in shared houses and stuff like that would always go down a treat. So
yeah, big time.
Yeah, Fast Laser, eh?
Yeah.
Cool. My number 8 is a game called The Plan, which is a very short game by the people that are going to make Among the Sleep, which is this horror game coming out on PC this year or next year, where you play as a 2-year-old toddler. And the trailer is really good. They released this free game last week for some reason. I don't really know why. Basically, you play as a fly, and you just fly up the screen. It looks really, really nice. Really like Limbo's an obvious touchstone, but it's got more colour and clarity to it than that. And you just fly as this fly. The mechanics of flying as the fly, for want of a better choice of words, are really nice. And it takes about 5 minutes. You fly upwards. A few things happen along the way. Then there's this like really emphatic ending, and then it ends. And I'd recommend everyone to play it. It's on PC and Mac. It's free and literally does take maybe even 3 minutes to play. But it's just a really nice little art game that doesn't outstay its welcome, has a fun central mechanic, which I think is crucial to this sort of thing. And it's just a nice little message, and it just shows that these guys have a real artistic eye, and makes me even more excited for their game that's coming out either this year or next year, Among the Sleep. But yeah, The Plan, everyone should check it out because it is so short.
Is it? Did you play it in a browser?
No, you download it. It's only like 17 megabytes, I think, and then just load it up. But yeah, PC and Mac.
Right. Okay. Sweet. All right. I'll do that in a bit. Okay. My number 7 is an Xbox Live indie game. It's also available on PC. It's called Bleed. I saw the cover art on the Xbox Live indie game space. It's this woman with pink hair diving backwards, firing pistols. I liked the demo so much I played through it twice. I'm a little bit skint at the moment, so I couldn't buy it. It's 400 points, but I contacted the guy. It's made by one Canadian guy who goes under the pseudonym Boot Disc Revolution, and I've contacted him to see if he's happy to give me a review. Otherwise, I'll buy it in a couple of weeks' time when I'm not so brassic. It's an absolutely phenomenally good. It's just an awesome action game. It's made to look like it's kind of 16-bit style. Mm-hmm. There's bullets. I mean, I checked the guy's Twitter, and someone asked him what the inspiration for it was, and he said Ikaruga, Beautiful Joe, Mega Man, and Max Payne.
Okay.
If that doesn't appeal to you, something's wrong with you.
Yeah, that does appeal.
So, I mean, I'm sure there's a demo on PC as well, but if you have an Xbox, just download the demo. Hopefully I can speak about it in next week or the following week to see if the rest of it lives up to it. But just a cracking action game, completely unexpected. I actually think it was crowdfunded. I think there was stuff about... not Kickstarter, whatever the one was that was before that. Was there something before that?
Yeah, there's other ones, aren't there? There's like Indiegogo and there's a few other things.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was paid for by the fans. But Bleed. It's if it has any hope in hell of living up to the demo, God, it's going to be amazing.
Okay, that's written down on my little notebook, so that sounds good.
Cool.
Bleed. Cool. My number 7 is Year Walk. I don't know if you've read the review on Eurogamer, which came out today. We're recording on Thursday. It got 9 out of 10 on there and got 9 out of 10 somewhere else as well, which I've already forgotten. Edge, that's right, sorry. An iOS game from the people that made Beat Sneak Bandit. They're called Simogo, Swedish developers. And so far it seems like a really, really nice, very stylish. It's a horror game. Definitely falls in that whole art game category again. It's an ugly category to describe it like that, but it's just easy for like a point of reference. It's done in first person with like really nice. God, it's difficult to describe the aesthetic. There's no obvious touchstones, but just kind of like almost a hand drawn, like things were cut out of coloured paper, like and stuck on the background, like you do at primary school or nursery or whatever. And it's all about seemingly you're this guy, and I think you want this girl to marry you, but she won't say yes or no for a year. So you're just going to go and walk through the snow for a year, and then so that was happening. You move left and right on the screen by swiping your finger, and then as you move into the screen, it's really hard to describe with words. It moves forwards almost like a diorama. So it's not a traditional first-person game where you're moving a camera around a 3D environment. Everything's 2D, but it's done through trickery, basically, smoke and mirrors, but it's a very nice effect. And straight away it starts to get creepy. The music's very, very odd. The whole thing is this kind of disquiet to it. Much more effective type of spookiness than something like Slender, which is all about, we're just going to basically ramp the tension up till you can't take it and then throw something at you. And of course you're going to jump because, we're fucking people. But this seemed to be much more on a kind of psychological level. So I'm going to wait till it's dark because I asked Christian, who reviewed the game, should I wait? And he said, yeah, wait till it's dark and put headphones on. So I shall do that and play the rest of it tonight. But it seems like a really classy effort. And 9 out of 10 on Eurogamer, 9 out of 10 on Edge. So yeah, sounds like they've done something right there with those scores.
Yeah, indeed. Did you say it was iOS?
Yeah, it's £2.49, so it's a bit more than most iOS games, but it feels a bit more. It's a bit more content rich, and it feels like it's worth £2.50, definitely.
Okay. Right, cool. My number 6 is a game called Rock Runners on iOS. I played it on the iPhone. It's another endless runner from Chilingo. It's quite alarming how much it resembles a game that I spoke about last week or the week before called Tin Man Can. Yeah. It's basically the same game. That's not to say that it's bad. It's actually very, very good, and there's a lot of content here. And I think I prefer this to Tin Man Can because this gets really, really brilliantly difficult really fast. It's you're running from side to side, jumping up, collecting gems. After you get enough gems, you go faster, and then it's all about using the speed to propel yourself over obstacles. So you have to be really good at it really fast, and that was refreshing just because there is loads of levels. It's really nicely presented. I mirrored it to my TV, and even on a 32-inch sort of TV, it was like, wow, that looks really, really nice.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I appreciated how difficult it was. I mean, and it's kind of the way the levels are presented, rather than the same old stars structure and 3 stars here and 3 stars there. It's on this hexagonal grid, and you can move in different directions and avoid certain harder levels and stuff like that. And the in-app purchases aren't sort of shitty or anything like that. It's an excellent game. It's just it bears too much of a resemblance to stuff that Chilingo have already brought out themselves. So excellent, but if you've played one of these, it's unlikely to interest you for that long.
Okay, yeah, there's so many of them. It's tough, isn't it? But Rock Runners, was it called?
Rock Runners. It's very, very good. 69p. I mean, it's actually excellent, but it's hard not to be fatigued by yet another one of it's another one of these. Yeah,
definitely. Okay. One game that's more fatiguing than that, I'm sure, is my number 6, Aliens Colonial Marines. I had plans on finishing it this week. Unfortunately, life and work got in the way, so I haven't managed to. But I have played a bit more, and I did some multiplayer as well. It's still fucking toilet. The more I read about it, the more fascinating the whole story gets. It really is blowing my mind about what happened to this game. Stuff that Randy Pitchford's come out with on his Twitter. First of all, just deflecting all criticism and blocking people, and then started brilliantly just posting codes, like download codes for stuff for Borderlands 2 and for this, which and the thing that you get for Aliens is like a decal on your gun that says Friends of Gearbox, which is just fucking delicious. I
loved it when there was all those people who'd never used Twitter before coming up and going, "Oh, I loved Aliens Colonial Marines is the best game I've ever played." Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck is going on? He needs to just pretend the game doesn't exist anymore and chuck it under the carpet and just move on, because this is a fucking horror show. Hit number 1 in the UK, no surprise there. The strength of that brand. Aliens vs Predator did the same thing, and as we spoke about last week, that's a fucking much better game, and it's far from perfect itself. But straight back in. Hadley's Hope was just making me laugh. Stupid aliens, loads of blue. Like I said, I wish I had finished it, because then I could give it the savaging it definitely deserves. But I need to go back to it. Although the appeal is starting to wane a little bit.
It's not very long at all. I mean, it's like 4 or 5 hours if you just sort of hammer through it. I played it a little bit. I haven't tried. Multiplayer was crap, was it?
It was just. I mean, I'm not the biggest multiplayer shooter fan anyway, really. That it needs to be the cream of the crop to get me interested in this. Definitely ain't that. I tried playing as an alien briefly and I couldn't do it, but I've never really been able to do it in any of those games, so I don't know whether it's just shit in this or it's just me being shit. And then as the Marine, it was just making the whole game, there's something about the frame rate or something about the engine that makes me feel a bit unwell when I play it, physically unwell. So I just wanted to turn it off, and I don't think I'll play multiplayer again. But I will get through to the end of the campaign, because I've got to do it.
Yeah, I toyed with it a little bit and had a look on. It's my number 5 as well, or it's my number 5 and your number 6, whatever. I had looked at it on the harder difficulty settings. It doesn't really appear to be difficult enough, which it would have been some kind of saving grace if they pitched those difficulties. But of course they fucking haven't. Just some things. Have you seen the rain effects yet?
Yes, the one on when it splashes on your visor. It looks like slugs, slug trails.
Yeah, but it has the most pixelated. I mean, it looks like it's like Atari 2600. It's incredible.
Atrocious.
And have you got to the bit in those caves?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. It's brilliant. I swear to God, somebody making that game forgot to put ammunition around the level, because you play through the whole thing and you're just forced to use your pistol because there's no ammo for a period of about 45 minutes. And you know that some guy is probably getting chewed out.
Yeah.
Fucking Alphonse, you forgot to put the ammo in that fucking level before we ship the game.
Fucking Alphonse. They should all be, from every level, from publishing all the way through to Alphonse, should be ashamed of themselves. They can pass blame around, but ultimately you take responsibility for your own actions. And these days I don't really like kicking games. I don't really find much fun in it. I did enjoy this a little bit because it is such a funny mess, but this feels like it's an insult to the fans of Aliens, and I guess I would be one of them. I've probably seen that film 5 times or something, so that's a lot more than I watch most films.
Yeah.
But I know how rabid the true Aliens fan base is, and it's just an insult to anybody who fucking shelled out money for it.
Yeah, it's funny. That's in a way that's the worst part, because seeing it get to number 1 in the charts is, I'm absolutely not one of those people that goes on Twitter every Monday morning and Sigh, upwards rolley, eyeball emoticon. I can't believe Shooty McShooty game got to number 1, whilst that indie game on Steam about the tribulations of a fucking Victorian tablespoon is languishing in the 100s. I don't care. People buy what they buy, whatever. But it's just it is actually contempt, because they know that people love the property so much. And friends of mine who I've spoke to over the past week, they're like, a terrible Aliens game is better than no Aliens game at all. And that's the attitude of a lot of fans. I mean, it's such a shame, because there's absolutely no desire to please those people whatsoever.
It is, contempt is the right word. It is contemptuous that they'd release it in that state. It should have got canned. It's not on. No. I don't care. Like I said last week, Dead Space gets the number 1, all good. Even though I don't like it, whatever gets the number 1, all good. I don't like it. That I just feel bad for everybody who bought it, and I'm one of the people that bought it. So I guess I feel bad for myself, but I don't really, because it's quite funny.
Okay. 2 quick points rather. The music is genuinely very good. It's thematically the same, but it's obviously not the same exact music and score and whatnot from Aliens. But it feels like if they had made a direct sequel to Aliens, that would be a worthy follow-up. I mean, it's really it's different but the same, and it's really effective. And it's a shame that guy has to have that game on his CV. Another thing, I absolutely fucking hated. The new. I mean, there's the new species, those yellow ones that the old men who are blind for some reason. They've done another new species where the alien sits at a distance and spits acid at you, and it's like, that's brilliant. I haven't seen that in every fucking game ever made.
Yeah, well
awful.
Done.
Exactly, piss off. Oh yeah, crap.
Yeah, crap. But yeah, I'm still going to finish it, so I'm part of the problem. I'm part of everything that's wrong in the world.
True that.
And my number 5 is Temple Run 2, a game I never thought I'd return to, but for some reason put on, and just ended up sitting there for fucking ages playing it. I still don't think it's as good as it could be, and I don't like the fact you have to tilt your little man to steer him left and right. That does my head in. But yeah, it's strangely Moorish. I couldn't stop restarting it, more so than Pitfall, which I still think is probably a better game. I don't really have anything to say about Temple Run 2. You've probably played it out there, and you know what it is. It's just fucking a dude running. But I kept playing it, and I felt like a bit stupid for doing so. But yeah, I don't think I'm very good at it. It's Temple Run, isn't it? I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, it's another game where it's perfectly. I mean, it's not brilliantly designed so as to be noted, so as for its massive success to make any sense, because there are so many of those games out there. I mean, it's fine. It's good. It's good. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, all right. My number 4 is a game called Ascent of Kings on the Xbox 360. It's an indie game. It will probably arrive on iOS and probably other phone platforms at some point as well. It's from No Static Software, who I've spoken about many times in the past. They've still done my favourite Xbox Live indie game of all time, Quiet Please.
Okay.
Which. It's 80 points, just buy it. Or it's on iOS as well, and it's on, I think, Windows phones or Google phones or whatever, some other thing that's not iOS. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. This is, I finished it today. I did it in about an hour. It's tremendous. It says the king's dead, we need to find a new king, and this little boy whose 4 brothers all go off to go and... The way they... this little village decide who the king is. They have this sort of, not an assault course, but like a, I don't even know what you call it. You have to,
trial.
Yeah, basically it's called the Ascent of Kings, and you have to sort of some platforming, some light, very very light puzzles, and yeah, it's rendered in exactly the same style as Quiet Please, which is kind of how would you say? I mean, it kind of looks like a slightly, how would you describe Fez?
Yeah, just like pixel art. 8-bit.
Yeah, it's a even more primitive version of that. Very identical to how Quiet Please was animated. You can do it in an hour. You can actually do it in half an hour, but then there's extra stuff to find. It's you have to basically find these 12 shrines, and when you get the shrine, or you happen upon other characters who haven't made it, like they've broken their legs, and they give you shoes so you can double jump, or you learn how to hold your breath underwater. Stuff that helps you get past other parts of the world. It's fantastically entertaining, incredibly well designed. It's one of those games that there are different routes and pathways and stuff, but there's a very, very divisive line through the middle, so it's not like you can ever get lost. It's not like something like Fez where I frequently was just like, where the hell am I? Although they're not really comparable. It's clever, it's charming, and it's great. No static. I think it's just like a couple of people, but I love what they do, and this is another great one. It's if you have an Xbox Live. If you have Xbox Live, just download the trial at the very least. It's really, really bloody good. Loved it.
It's not on iOS yet.
No, but I think from what I can gather, all of the games that they release start off on Xbox and then they gradually port them to the other platforms. Right. But have a look at Quiet Please. But Ascent of Kings, if you have an Xbox 360, just download it. It's incredibly clever and doesn't outstay its welcome. It's quality over quantity. It's just great, really, really great. I loved it.
Good on them. I still need to play Quiet Please. I keep forgetting about it, and if it's on my phone, I'm more likely to get it. I think so. Yeah, I shall do that one day. I
like the way there's something to a platformer like this, and some of it's brilliantly tricky. I think it's made for a pad, really. Less so Quiet Please, but this one definitely on the 360.
Okay. What they're called again? No static.
No static software. Yeah.
Oh, good on them. My number 4 is Silent Hill Downpour. I played a fair chunk more, actually, from last week. I still think it's quite good, I know it got a bit of a kicking, and I'm far from finished the game, so it might turn into a piece of shit, but I said last week that I really think this development team, Vatra, gets it. They get what Silent Hill is. They get the idea that it's very creepy, unusual, kind of Japanese mixed with Lynch type of thing. They seem to get all that, and just as I was actually one point where I was moving through it, and I thought, do you know what, this is good, but the reason I think Silent Hill was so effective back then is the use of fixed camera angles. And then I walked into a room and they used a fixed camera angle to kind of set the mood, basically, of that room and set the perspective. And I was like, okay, so they've even got that in some parts of it. You keep getting chased by this like red light, which is a bit shit. It's not as good as the old Silent Hills at all, but it's good. I like it. I'm going to keep playing through it, and I'm amazed that the first hour and a half of that game, apart from the very, very, very beginning, there's no combat. And that, as I said last week, that just wouldn't fly almost anywhere. What games are like that? That's like these days, a really brave thing. And I read loads that it was like really combat heavy. It might turn into that again. But the fact that they just went for atmosphere and a few light puzzles for that long, that's impressive to me.
Yeah. I thought very much of that game, actually, until there is one puzzle you'll get to, which it must have passed into, it must be a famous thing, because I couldn't believe how ridiculously obtuse the puzzle was, but you'll know it when you come across it, because I don't think there's anybody that can just figure it out. If you figure it out, you're some sort of genius. But yeah, a very good game, that. Very very underrated.
Yeah, and if I do get stuck for too long, I'm just going to game fax it all day, because I just want to get through it to see it. But yeah, it's nice to have a bit of good Silent Hill. I don't know if there'll be any more. I'm sure it didn't do very well in this day and age. But yeah, I wish that HD collection was good and not an absolute piece of shit, because I'd like to go through those ones again. But what can you do?
Indeed. Okay, all right, my number 3 is Battlefield 3. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I found some funny servers recently. There's this new trend that appears to have popped up in the last week, where there's a massive sign on the server saying "No knifing the admin or ban," which just made me laugh, because what are you supposed to do? Who's that sniper over there? Is that the admin? Oh, I better not knife him then. You better check who he is before you nick it and jump up behind him and knife him. It's just that's unbelievable. People that have servers on Battlefield 3 are donuts. Actually, I got booted. I was playing a really good game with Tom, and I can't remember what game mode we were playing, but I got booted out of the game, and then I got a message and it said, "You have been booted on suspicion of giving all of our vehicles to the enemy team. I have evidence," in capitals. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, we've got evidence. And I was like, what evidence have you got? And he goes, my 2 friends said they saw you driving tanks and choppers and to the enemy and then running back. And I was like, what? What the fuck? You know, I don't know what... It's a server. If you play on Xbox 360, it's called the Chuck Norris server. But Tom was still in there. So I said, he tried to get banned, basically. He did actually take all of their vehicles and put them with the enemy team. And they didn't fucking notice.
How weird.
Well, it's like children, really, isn't it? It's just jumped up little kids. So play the official servers. There's enough of them these days.
Oh, that's good. Good stuff. Battlefield 4 soon. So I hear, reveal soon.
Yeah.
So that'll be exciting. I reckon it's going to be quite golden. As Battlefield 3 is blue. I've got a feeling 4 is going to be golden. Heard it here first. That was just based on nothing. I just thought it just then. My number 3 is Crysis 3, the third Crysis game from Crytek. It's a very handsome effort. It's a beautiful game on PC, absolutely staggeringly beautiful. I've not played it on consoles, but I hear it's very, very, very decent looking on consoles. 2 certainly was, and it's a good game. I think it suffers a little bit in the wake of Far Cry 3. I think if it had come out before that game, it would have seemed a little better because it is still quite hemmed in. Even though each scenario you get into, they're quite open and there are more options than there were in Crysis 2 for how you tackle each area. But I think the general public will probably be happy with what they play, but in the wake of the sort of immense scope of Far Cry 3, they will perhaps be a little bit disappointed by a game that's essentially a linear story in the same vein that Crysis 2 was.
Have you played Crysis 1?
No.
Yeah, neither have I. I mean, from what I can gather, Crysis 3 is my number 1, by the way. From what I can gather, it's people have said that it's a mixture of Crysis 1 and Crysis 2, because Crysis 2 was very linear and 1 was a bit more open. And this is still linear, but the spaces you go into are absolutely huge, and the amount of enemies that you do battle with at one time is really, really... I mean, there's loads. I think it's really, really terrific. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's... I think I'm approaching the finale now, so I'm almost at the end.
Right.
I don't necessarily think it's better looking than Crysis 2, but there are more glitches. I mean, I kept finding myself getting stuck on scenery and stuff like that. I say I keep, 4 or 5 times that happened, which is, not game breaking or anything, but I did notice it. I think it's. I mean, it's so much fun. I mean, there are issues again, like the way that the first half of the game, you're basically following a guy around exactly like you do in Call of Duty. So you're following that guy, run here, run there, follow him. That was a bit irritating. And that powering up your suit with those modules is complicated with those dials and stuff. I kind of thought that was needlessly complex. It's not Dishonored because you only have 2 choices. You either go heavy or you stay stealthy. But that means that it can be much broader. And I thought it's actually genuinely quite an exciting game. And the emphasis on hacking, there's a lot of hacking in this. It's so exciting when there's so many enemies and you know that they're going to hammer you to death, because I'm playing on not the hardest difficulty, the next one down. You have to time it so perfectly. You go in, you cloak yourself, go close enough to be able to hack like a turret or something, hack it and then back away, and you have to nail the minigame at the same time. And if I really think it's a really, really good action game. It's not revolutionary. It's not going to blow anyone's socks off, at least not on console. But did you think it was quite dark?
Well, literally,
visually dark, yeah.
No, the PC that I was playing on was the top of the range PC, so it wasn't dark. No, I didn't have any gamma problems or anything like that. But I can't really comment on that. But maybe, I can see how it could possibly be like that on console. That engine might suffer with that sort of... I don't even know why am I even saying those words. What a load of shit. Did you know that Psycho from Crysis 3 is in Hollyoaks? I don't watch Hollyoaks, but it was on the other day in my house, and I was like, that's fucking Psycho. And it is. Just some bald white guy.
Oh, he looks like that as well?
Well, yeah, it is him. It's done with performance capture and his exact face and voice and everything. It 100% is him. So I was like, that fucker. But he's actually quite a decent character for that world, for action gaming. So he's not the worst guy to follow around in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's and I was as impressed. Crysis 2 it impressed me. Crysis 3 it impressed me. The way they map all of those commands to the pad and make it work. Because it's a PC game through and through in that respect, and there's so many things you need to be able to do quite quickly. And they mapping that to a control pad. It's fair play. They really have made it work.
Yeah.
I think I really quite like it. It's a solid 8 out of 10 at the moment. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's hard to get really excited about it because you have played it before. But I mean, I found myself on the edge of my seat repeatedly. It's the ping ponging between games of cat and mouse when you're stealth, and then the second you get found, if you're really careless, knowing that you're going to get set upon by all of these, and the AI is very effective as well. I really like it. I think it's a really, really good game. What can you say?
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. Yeah, it is good. Definitely. It is very good. It's just, like you say, it's kind of hard to get pumped about it because you've played not only Crysis a lot of times before, but, a lot of games have been like this in this generation, really.
It is singular, though. I have to say, the fact that there is only ever 2 choices is actually frees it up to be something else. And when you are thrown into those massive spaces... it's really quite exciting. When I said that it was dark, I thought it was an actual choice that they've made, because I toyed with the settings on my TV. I changed the settings in the game, and it's not detrimentally so. It's not like I couldn't see what I was doing. It just seemed very, very dark. But then the reason it felt like a choice is because there are so many moments where you walk out and just the daylight's like blinding. It seemed like they were contrasting those for a reason. I don't know whether that was I assumed it was a choice they'd made, but maybe.
It's not something I noticed, certainly, but you might be right.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, yeah, I rate it. I think it's very, very good.
Yeah, I think it'll do well, like moderately well. I think so.
Genuine.
Is it me or you? I think it's you.
That was your number 2, is it?
That was my number 3.
Okay. Well, it was my number 1, so that's done. My number 2 is Dead Space 3. I think I'm at the end. I'm pretty sure I'm right at the end. I think it's really, really, really quite special. I think you were well off the ball with it.
You like having a million guys just run at you. That's the game.
There are moments where that becomes irritating, and the beasts that jump out at you, knock you over, and then run away. That is infuriating. That's one of the most annoying things that always annoys me is the wind. When you get a gust of wind, it's like being started on by the Invisible Man. You're like, come out, fucking come on! Will you started on me for you wanker? I mean, I've done that in the street before.
Fucking hell.
They jump. Those guys are quite irritating. But I went round to Zeno's gaff, and Joe was there, and they were talking. Watching them talk to each other, they hadn't played for a couple of days, and it was like, look at this, and they showed the enthusiasm that they had and the intricacies of that crafting system. I was like, wow. I mean, it's not of any interest to me, but it should be commended, because the amount of tinkering they're doing, the stuff they're finding out, and the weapons they're creating, it's like, fuck. That's really, it's a big part of the game. I mean, I've ignored it. I wouldn't, even if I knew beforehand that this was sort of a big part of it, I still would have ignored it because it's not really my thing. But it has to be commended for that. I just think it's really good. The action bits haven't bothered me as much as they bothered you. And when I first saw it, I was like, they've got to pay some kind of reference to the thing, and they have. I mean, those radio messages that you find, those sort of old school playing sort of classical music. Hey guys, it's cold out there and stuff. And I was like, And then I found that blood splattered refrigerator, and I was like, that looks like they've modelled it on the refrigerator from the thing stuff. So that was really nice. But I don't think there's any more or less puzzles than in Dead Space 1 or 2. There's more action, which means that there's more action between them. But I don't think there's any less, or they're any worse, any weaker than I just think it's slightly different from the two, and on a par. I think I really I'm loving it. And as I said again months ago, they used the blizzard and the sort of the snow like they used the darkness, so things disappear in and out of it, and that's really effective. I found some of it to be really tense, especially when you're completely alone, you're isolated, and you're doing whatever out in the middle of nowhere.
You're doing chores.
Yeah, but you're getting. Yeah, I can. If you really don't like the combat, I can understand that, but I quite like the combat.
Yeah, you know me. I'm not here to change anyone else's opinion, and I'm glad you like it. I just mainly the biggest crime for me in games, boring. For me, fucking just so boring. I just a constant war of attrition against a load of twats, and then I got to the end, and the story was terrible, and the acting just The dialogue, I mean, not the acting was okay, but the dialogue and like the characters and the character arcs and the love triangle stuff, it's just like, this is just trash, man. I can't hack it. So yeah, I know a few people who are on the same page as me, and plenty more who aren't. So it's great that people enjoy it. Just it kind of baffles me that people do, but if they do, then all good.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, and oh my word, it's so incredible looking. It really is an absolutely outstanding looking video game.
Oh yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, and there is the visceral, no pun intended, just the excitement, the stomping. It's something that I remember when
That's what you do.
Yeah, but it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying to do it. When I first saw it,
maybe the first 4,000 or 5,000 times you do it.
No, it's the great sound effects and just the weighty stomp and then those gifts popping out. I don't know, that hasn't got tired for me. But yeah.
Every time you talk about anything like that, it just makes my skin crawl. I'm like, oh, that was not an enjoyable experience. I had to do it in a very condensed space of time. And I don't like that game.
All right, I rate it very highly, as highly as the first two, actually, I think.
Awesome. I ain't about to argue. My number two is another game that's proved quite divisive, it seems, on the review scale, is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. I actually technically played this ages ago, but this is the first week I've been able to talk about it, so I will. I thought it was superb. You know what it is. I mean, you know what it is, but everyone knows what it is. You play as Raiden from Metal Gear. The game is about hitting things with your sword, cutting them, and you can slow down time and use the right stick to slash in any direction that you want. And it's a platinum game, so it's super fast, 60 frames per second action. Everybody knows all this probably already. And the combat is marvellous. I think almost best in class. I think it might be the best combat that they've done. It's all about relentless forward action, as opposed to almost all of these games. There's like a lot of evasive stuff, a lot of defensive stuff, DMC, Bayonetta, Ninja Gaiden, even stuff like God of War. This isn't about that. It's about attack. So that's why there's no block. You can only parry. And you do that by hitting square on PlayStation and pushing the stick in the direction of the attack that's coming in, which you can see because a little red flash comes in. It's all done very well. And hit the parry at the exact right time, and you can hit them straight into slow motion, slash them in half, pull out their spine, get your health back. Fucking sweet, keep smashing everybody up. Amazing. There is a dodge move. People say there isn't, but there is a dodge move. You have to unlock it, and even that is it's not like a roll or anything like that, like a DMC style roll. It is imagine Anderson Silva when he just drops to the side and catches someone with a cross. That's what it is. It's you sort of move to the side laterally and you attack at the same time. So it's an aggressive dodge, and that's actually an integral part. I don't know why it's an unlockable in some ways, but I do in other ways. It's weird that people might miss it, and then the later parts of the game will be really hard because there's unblockable attacks and people grab you. But I understand that at first they wanted you to understand how this game is supposed to be played. You were supposed to be attacking and aggressive and forward, and they want you to play a level without being able to dodge, I think. To do that, maybe it would be a better idea if it just gave you the dodge after. It doesn't fucking matter. There's a dodge in there, unlock it. That chance should be the first thing you unlock. The boss battles, apart from the final boss battle, which is fucking toilet, which is the biggest letdown in the game, the other boss battles, of which there are, I'm going to say 5, are amazing. Just phenomenally good, and on the hardest difficulty levels get even better. Amazing, like clever character designs. Their weapons are just superb. The battles just feel like phenomenal end of a movie type stuff where you're in such direct control. Metal Gear Rising, it's awesome. I love it.
What's so terrible about the final boss?
The final boss just feels like maybe they just kind of ran out of time to get it as good as the rest of it. He looks like Ray Musica from BioWare, which I'll give my man Samuel Roberts credit for that joke. Very funny. And first of all, he's in like a Metal Gear, and it's kind of a bit shit compared to the rest of it. And then you fight him on his own, and like it's just a really difficult, poorly implemented boss battle that's very, very frustrating. A lot of unblockable attacks that are very hard to move out of the way of. A lot of sketchy stuff that happens, and then like halfway through, he'll chuck stuff at you, and you have to cut it. with your sword, which is a fine idea, but it's really difficult to get the exact angle that you need. And if you fuck it up, basically you just like almost lose all your health and then have to restart the whole thing again. And this song plays while you're playing it. There's the whole game's got this weird soundtrack, kind of like emo, emotional, hardcore rock, and it suits the game quite well. And every boss battle has its own song, and the one at the end is it's a weird song anyway. But when you play the same boss for an hour and a half, which is how long it took me, the song just goes, in the end, and it's just like you, and you are just like me, and it's like you. And I played this game a month ago now. I have not got that song out of my head. That was in my head all day, every day, because it was just that same chorus over and over again. And yeah, I don't know why it's so shit. It's a shame it's so shit. And it left a real bad taste in my mouth, in fact. I was going to give it a much lower score. But then when I finished the game, I went back and started again on hard. And straight away, I was like, no, this game's superb. They just fucked up the end. So the preceding however many hours, it's a short game, but it's definitely one you want to play through at least twice.
Yeah, I can't wait. I haven't played it yet. I will talk about it next week. How short is it?
My game clock was 5.5 hours on normal, but that doesn't include restarts or cutscenes. So add an hour and a half straight away for the final boss, and add maybe another hour for general fuck-ups, half an hour cutscenes. You know, it's like a bit shorter than most games, but not like criminally short. Not like Wanted Weapons of Fate, 3 hours 43 minutes.
That was quite fun though, that game.
Glad it wasn't any longer than that, because it was starting to go really shit, and then it finished.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I'll talk to you about it next week. I cannot wait. I mean, Platinum, me boys.
That was so. Your number one is Crysis, right?
My number one's Crysis 3. Yeah, I rate it. Get it, I say.
Oh, my number one is a game. Frustratingly, I can't really talk about. It's God of War Ascension. I've been playing it all day today, all day yesterday. It looks amazing. That's all I'm going to say right now. Like, we watched the PlayStation 4 announcement stuff last night, all of which I was very impressed by. Everything that they're showing, it just got me pumped. Even the individual games, I was like, well, okay, Killzone, I've seen it before, whatever. But I just pumped for a new system. But then Ascension, you know, it's like God of War 2. You think, damn, this, you know, there's still a lot more to give in this machine. That's all I'll say about it, so I don't want to get in trouble.
When's that out?
March 15th in UK.
Right.
So about it in 2 or 3, it's probably 3 episodes time or something like that, I guess.
Okay. We're nearly in March now, so probably a lot sooner than that.
Yeah, about 2-3 weeks.
All right. Okay, I don't know the details. Okay, that's us done. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week. As usual, feel free to check out we've got a Facebook page, Twitter, etc. You know, YouTube. We're starting to put loads of videos on YouTube. You know, just all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's at John Denton, at Chet Rovers. I don't know why you never want to tell me.
I know. I'm an idiot.
Right. Chet Jon's on YouTube and Facebook. And then, we thought this was true, but it actually turns out to be massively true. If you could leave us a review on iTunes, it jumped us up like hundreds of spaces on the iTunes chart.
We were at 1,006 in the iTunes chart, and after someone very kindly left us a review yesterday or the day before, we're now at number 24.
That's iTunes makes no sense. It's fucked, but that seems to be how it works. So if you do like the podcast, and we appreciate that, obviously, if you could leave us that'd be sweet, or just tell someone as well to listen, or don't do any of these things. Do whatever the hell you want. Who the hell am I? No one. All right. Cheers.
Thanks. See you later.
Why are we wasting our time out here? There's no way he's coming. Maybe he's already here. Could be cloaked somewhere watching us. Bullshit! There's no one here.